Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Layman's Guide to Elden Ring DLC at Rune level 1. Today we are going to deal with the rest of the optional content this DLC has to offer. So, today we've got 4 bosses to defeat, an impressive kill list. These are the bosses we must kill. I believe it's pretty clear, but if you don't understand, trust me, it will become clearer as we progress. This is going to be a long episode, so you may want to grab a block of cheese or something to make it more bearable. Our journey starts in Morth Ruins. From the side of Grace, go down this path until you reach this hole in the ground. Break your legs trying to reach the bottom. Deal with the horn-sent enemies and climb this ladder. This will take you to the Bunny village. There's a couple items we need to get here. First, follow this path hugging the left to get an important gesture. This is the Oh Mother gesture, the Miyazaki patented hidden gesture that takes you to a hidden location. Then, there's a revered spirit ash at the end of this crevice. I also found a tooth whip. I don't know why this exists, but someone is into this, I guarantee it. Now, do some sick parkour while crossing the hanging bridges. If you don't walk on the ropes, it doesn't count. When you reach the site of Grace, your next destination should be this cathedral, so start heading there. What a peaceful forest. Oh my god, jumpscare. Oh my god, a furnace golem. Stupid golem, this tree will protect me. In all seriousness, just run away from the golem and it won't be able to hurt you. After this, turn to the left and you'll reach the Cathedral of Manus Metyr. There's an ominous guy sitting on a throne there. He's actually a pretty chill dude called Ymir. He gives us a whistle and a map to ring the bell of one of the Finger Ruins. His quest leads to a boss, so we'll humor the game and follow it. He's hired a goth chick to protect him. You can talk to her if you want. The worst she can say is no.
Be gone. There is nothing more to say. Be gone. There is nothing more to say.
She's probably one of those femcels people talk about on the internet. Back to the main path, I guess. This road will take you back to the Shadow Keep. But this time, it's the Church District, some Bloodborne Cathedral ward shit. You'll have to do some precision jumping. But this is overall a pretty transitory area, except for the crabs, which are the main attraction. There are a couple of Fire Knights patrolling the area, but they mostly edgewalk in front of you and are quite easy to annihilate from afar. After defeating this first knight, jump on these stone rafters and then down to the floor. You'll have to take care of 2 more knights. You can kill one of them with the power of stealth. This sunken statue of Marika contains a Shadow Tree fragment. Now, follow this path, going up this elevator, and it will take you to the specimen storehouse. However, don't do anything just yet. Merely touch the grace without resting at it and go back down. When you return to the area of the sunken statue, go through this other walkway. After climbing a ladder, you'll find a lever that drains the water that floods the area. I thought this was some Bloodborne shit, but it ended up being some Dark Souls New Lando shit. From Software is so unpredictable and subtle with its references. You gotta love how they made a cutscene for us draining the water, but half the game's endings have no unique cutscenes. The bottom of the area can now be explored, however, we'll pretty much run past everything. Starting from the church with the site of grace, go around this small plaza and enter this church. Ignore the Fire Knight and turn to the right. Avoid the exploding zombies and open this door. Please grant me death. Undo my shackles. Now it's just a matter of pressing on until you reach the first boss. Oh, America's Rune. Don't forget to level up with it. So, by no means is the Shadow Tree avatar easy, however, it is much more manageable than other boss fights. I'm going to do the unthinkable, and actually recommend that you don't summon Tish for this fight. You see, the avatar takes much more damage from headshots, so we want it to be facing us the entire time. If it gets distracted by Tish, it will have its back at us, and we won't be able to deal damage. Since we don't need the infinite FP tier, I recommend that you go for the Opaline Bubble tier, in order to be able to tank at least one hit. Don't drink your physique flask just yet, as this fight is quite long and you don't want the effects of the flask to go away. Use this first phase to familiarize yourself with the openings you'll have to take advantage of. For example, its spin attack, its multi-slam combo, and its two headbutt moves. The attack in which it summons thorns from the floor is not a problem, as we'll always be keeping a certain distance. Its projectile rain attacks are easily dodged with the extra iframes provided by the Talisman of all Crucibles. When its health bar is depleted, go for the riposte and that's GG. I'm joking, the boss reappears 2 more times because of course it does. Riposting this boss is quite important as it makes the next phase start with less HP. Sometimes the game will not let you because this is the worst game ever. But yeah, overall phase 2 is a more aggressive phase 1 with a couple more attacks. Its spin attack now has a slam follow-up with thorns, however it remains one of your best openings. I like using Vial of the Indomitable for its Thorn Wave attacks, as I find the hitboxes to be a bit funky. Probably mad cause bad though. The rest of his attacks are mostly unchanged, except for some thorny AoEs that aren't that hard to dodge. Go for a riposte again in order to enter Phase 3. Phase 3 will 99% of the time start with this epic attack in which the avatar poses like the Shadow Tree. When you see this attack, calmly pull out your shield with Vow of the Indomitable and use it after a second or so passes. You will have ample time to punish the attack afterwards. Now, it will probably do this attack once more during Phase 3, and the second time the attack will cost 3 explosions. You will have to delay your dodge for the second explosion, but the third one will occur right after the second. At this point, the avatar is pretty much dead. And that's GG number 1. I kinda love this fight. From Software has made many boss fights, but only one is an emo sunflower. The Shadow Tree base is such a beautiful area too. However, there is a notable lack of Shadow Tree fragments here. Don't worry though, the next boss is going to more than make up for it. The avatar drops Miquella's Great Rune, which actually helps us counter an attack from the final boss. However, I have a feeling that attack is going to be the least of our concerns. In order to reach the next boss, teleport to the storehouse back section side of Grace and follow this path. When you reach the next side of Grace, turn to the right and grab the Shadow Tree fragment. Get ready because it's boss time. I feel that Gaius is one of the most hated DLC bosses, but it wasn't that bad at Rune level 1. First of all, you have all the time in the world to summon Tish at the beginning of the fight, because he starts running at you from very far away. Then, his first attack is always the Spore Charge. Our extra iframes make it pretty consistent to dodge. The later and more sideways you dodge the attack, the higher the chances of your spear attack connecting. This is actually one of our safest openings. You want to keep your distance from the boss in order to avoid its erratic melee attacks. When you see him do this, prepare to either run or roll spam backwards. You can punish after dodging the final swing. His phase transition attack can be easily run away from. This attack is just hilarious, sending the boar flying like that. I like to use Vow of the Indomitable to iframe through these meteorites. There's not a lot of difference between the phases, just keep your distance and wait for safe openings. That's GG number 2. Making my way forward, I found this albinotic woman and killed her. I later found out that she was Gaius' wife and they were a couple of animal-loving crippled warriors. Prepare to cry. Anyways, go through this arch and you'll find not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 Shadow Tree fragments, which is just amazing. At this point, the only fragments and revered spirit ashes you should be missing should be in Enir Elim. This is the closest we can get to the Shadow Tree. What are you, Team Earth Tree or Team Shadow Tree? This might be recency bias, but I like the Shadow Tree's more entangled, thicker design. For the next boss, we need to complete Ymir's quest, which will take us to the Cerulean coast. Here, the first Mike Ehrmantraut ruins can be found. This area is pretty easy, just run to the center and sound the bell. Silence. Do you hear it?
Walter. Put your dick away, Walter.
After this, talk to Ymir once more and he'll give you the map for the second ruin.
Starry sky is wondrous tonight, only your fate. Now, these...
Teleport to the Shadow Keep back gate side of Grace and perform the gesture we got at the Bunny village, in front of this Marika statue. This will open a door to the hinterlands. How could anyone be expected to figure this out on their own? Why are you like this, Miyazaki? The only thing of interest here is the Finger Ruins. Run past some very original, never recycled mini-bosses and across this bridge and you'll reach them. These ruins are a bit trickier. They have these pink leeches that will freeze you and suck you drier than a raisin. I suppose that our Rune level 1 character doesn't have much blood. Now that we are on the topic, what do you think being a Rune level 1 means canonically? Do we have less blood? Are our bones squishier? Do our genomes have less telomerase protecting them, making us more vulnerable to DNA damage and accidental fusion with other genomes? We will probably never know. For these ruins, I recommend that you dismount from Torrent and dodge their projectiles carefully. Also, just a little secret. If you are caught by one of the projectiles, you can just quit out and resume as if nothing had happened. I won't tell anyone if you do this. Using this strategy, you will easily reach the second bell, sound it and go back to the cathedral. The third finger ruins are actually below the cathedral. Exhaust Ymir's dialogue and you will find his throne empty after you rest at a site of grace. Push the throne back and you will be able to access the third ruins. The goth chick will invade you here. Spam L2 till she dies. There's plenty of fish in the sea, King. Sound the third bell and you will be transported to the boss's arena. Meteor's difficulty heavily depends on what attacks she does. If she does many melee attacks, you will be able to kill her very quickly, but she has very scary range attacks that will prolong the fight and significantly increase the chances of dying. Thankfully, we can summon Tish without problems. For this boss, you need to attack 100% reactively, as I believe her AI is designed to punish risky moves. Your best attack windows are her severe brain damage attacks. Here are some other openings you can take advantage of. Despite your needing to play reactively, it is important to keep a good level of aggression in order to get a stagger, which will allow you to finish phase 1 very quickly. I'm grateful we don't have to stab her finger Rusi to get a riposte. It's only her head we need to strike. Thank God. Now, phase 2 is where the real fingering begins. She unlocks a plethora of magic attacks that will get you many times, starting with her phase transition attack, which you pretty much can't run away from. Just pull out your shield with Vow of the Indomitable and pay attention to her tail fingers, I guess, and use the Ash of War as soon as the fingers are about to fully extend. Some of her phase 2 attacks are going to make you feel like you have to run away from her, but in reality you want to stay close, facing her, in order to bait as many melee attacks as possible, because her deadlier range attacks can be a death sentence. This makes phase 2 a race against time, in which you have to try to kill her as quickly as you can. Also, this triple laser attack is super annoying. You need to react at the speed of light more or less, and start running to avoid it. If you get a riposte during phase 2, you will save yourself a lot of trouble. And that's GG number 3. Overall, it's just a weird fight, but with a bit of luck she won't do any insane attacks and focus on her easy ones. You can say Meteor gives a whole new meaning to being all fingers and thumbs. Moving on to our last target. Do you remember that place that had no final boss? Well, they updated the game and it now has a whole ass dragon at the end. A pretty freaky one if I do say so myself. Now, if you go strictly by the books, Bayle is not a remembrance boss, but the heart he drops is pretty much a remembrance, so don't sit there trembling in your boots. A dragon needs slaying. I believe it to be a moral obligation to summon Egon for this fight, and managing to summon him is pretty much a fight in itself. Your being able to do it safely completely depends on what Bayle chooses to do at the beginning of the fight. If he attacks, your only choice is to dodge and quickly summon Egon.
Curse you, Bayle! I hereby vow you will rue this day. Behold, a true great warrior, and I, Egon, your fear made flesh. with every last drop of
Phase 2 is when shit gets real. Most of his attacks still follow the same dynamic of Phase 1. However, he mixes these simpler attacks with a handful of nuclear bomb moves that require specific dodging methods. Vow of the Indomitable is going to come in handy for this phase. For example, he has this attack he usually starts Phase 2 with. To dodge it, follow Bale with the camera as you run in the opposite direction. Then, as Bale is sliding towards you and about to absolutely pulverize you, use Vow of the Indomitable and then roll away from the AoE explosions at your feet. He also has a massive Fire Breath attack. Iframe through the first wave of fire, then dodge the Fire Breath and iframe again after a very tiny delay. This should go without saying, but you're going to have to lock in hard for this fight. However, I found it to be quite fair and properly telegraphed. On my winning attempt, I actually staggered him shooting at his ass, which is not ideal, but hey, I'm not complaining. And that's GG number 4. Say it with me. Curse you, Bale! I can't believe fucking Jory killed me more times than this beautiful yet despicable beast. Thank you, Egon. You're at peace now. Are you alright?
no longer.
He's probably alright. Anyways, that's going to be enough for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for stopping by, and please consider liking and subscribing as it is greatly appreciated. Stay tuned for part 7, the final episode in which all manners of pain and suffering await us. Bye!